from bestzapper.com, and today we're going to answer the simple question, what is a Holden-Clark zapper? Dr. Clark, in 1995, introduced a brand new term to the self-health, personal wellness arena when she came up with the term zapper. And what it is simply an electronic generator, runs on a battery, a 9-volt battery in this case, with our AutoZap professional zapper, and it generates tiny pulses of electricity that are then put into your body through a couple of copper pipe handholds. You just wrap them with paper towel, dampen them, and hold them for 7 minutes at a time. The automatic timing is built right into the professional AutoZap zapper. So you just, when you hear the beep, you pick it up, put it down. It's a very simple thing, and the way it works, according to her testing now, her latest research, is it actually wakes up your own white blood cells.
YouTube, what is going on today, guys? It is Mike here, bringing us all a brand new YouTube video today. Today, guys, I just woke up about an hour and a half ago, and I've already kind of noticed some when I've woken up today, and I am a little bit irritated today, a little bit more than usual. And, you know, that Bartonella, I haven't really done it that much. I've only done it about 4 times at 1 minute. It's G2, so it's only about 2 minutes. And, you know, and I've noticed a couple things with it of the frequent urinate. Guys, I go to the bathroom like 25, 30 times a day, like just peeing. And it's really kind of amazing how much I'm going to the bathroom. And I don't really know if you guys can tell. Maybe I'll show a picture here. I don't know if that's like by the kidneys, and I know they're by the adrenal glands. And, just something like that, because it is really flushing, like something is really just dying off, and I'm able to just like go to the bathroom more, and that's good, but I just have to be careful with my dehydration. I have to get my salt and sugar. But yeah, I have to tell you guys too, though, when you people who watch these videos later on, I don't know if it's going to be years down the road, I don't know, but just know with the Rife machine, and I just to kind of give a little bit of a life advice tip with using it, is you really need to just relax and to just stay as calm as possible, and just really kind of be in a good place a lot of the time. And I know a lot of people don't have it as easy as me, staying home all day and really just kind of waiting till you get better. And a lot of people have to work and kind of move, and I wish I would have kept a movement schedule of doing that, because I don't think I would have been in the funk I'm in right now. With me not being moving and moving the toxins, but I'm getting close to it. But the life advice I really want to give is, when you're kind of rifing, I just try to be as calm as possible. Really, you are going to have a lot of anger spikes. You're going to have so much die-off from whatever you're really treating, guys. And this thing is the real deal. This is going to be like any other detox remedy you've ever done. It may even be worse, because you are just annihilating every kind of bad bacteria in your body, spirochete. And you just really need to stay focused and to really figure out what your goal is and what you're going to be kind of getting at. And that was me. I read all the success stories. Everybody goes through what we're going through. Whoever's watching these, they go through the chronic herxing, the headaches, the anxiety, the panic, the joint, anything you can think of, guys. You will go through with rifing, and just
how easy this is to use. I've used it for all kinds of things. Let's see if you can hear this. I'm going to put it on high frequency. There's basically 2 settings, which makes it very simple. See, this is the high setting. You might be able to hear the ultrasound. You know, it's kind of going up and away. I hope this cheap little microphone can pick this up. If it can't, well, okay, now I just went into ultrasound, which is sound above the normal hearing range. And that's probably about 16,000 cycles per second. It's between 16 and 20 for most people. As you get older, you lose higher frequencies. But anyway, the point is that the sound frequencies are what actually do the work.
And intrasonic is better. With intrasonic, there is a range of frequencies that is just below that. It's more for the layman, like us, okay?
I will actually show you some quantum objects that you can actually see, you can actually hear them, and you can touch them. So let's start. It all starts actually up to a few minutes ago before I came on stage, that quantum mechanics was describing very well and very accurate the world of atoms and molecules. Then at larger scale, and it already starts at our unit, the biological cell, it kind of stops. A biologist takes the cell as the fundamental unit to build up biology. This is an enormous simplification because it completely ignores quantum mechanics. But it is as best as we can do at this moment. Larger objects like our hair, which is basically the smallest thing we can see with our eyes, or us, that's all classical. But the small things can be described very accurately. And the people who put forward this theory, the quantum theory, are actually, maybe they've made the greatest intellectual revolution of mankind. You see a picture here with, on the first row, very prominent Albert Einstein. Clearly recognize him in the middle. On his right, left for us, there's Hendrik Lorentz, our Dutch hero. And next to Lorentz, we see Madame Curie. And many of these men in this picture have received a Nobel Prize for their great work. There's one person who got the Nobel Prize twice. That's actually the only woman in the picture, Madame Curie. So apparently it's true what they say that women have to perform twice as good in order to be part of the gang. She did it. So, this is 100 years ago. What's new? Well, present day geniuses look like this. This is a group of brilliant people that form our group at the TU Delft. But again, they are at the verge of a new quantum era. We are no longer studying atoms and molecules as given by nature. In contrast to that, we actually design and make, by using very advanced fabrication techniques, new objects, much bigger, but that still show this absurd quantum mechanical behavior. So what is actually absurd about quantum mechanics? Why are we so excited about our quantum stuff? Let me give you two examples of absurd quantum mechanics. The first example is quantum superposition. Let's take a particle, like an electron or something, and bring it into a ring structure. And the particle can take the upper arm to get to the exit, or take the lower arm to get to the exit. Now what actually happens in quantum mechanics is that the electron takes both arms at the same time, simultaneously. Really, it's sitting in the upper arm as well as in the lower arm at the very same time. And we know this because we follow the particle and we see that at the exit of the ring, it actually collides with itself. It bounces into itself. And we observe this as interference. And such a superposition of being at two different locations at the same time has been very thoroughly checked in all kinds of experiments. Quantum superposition. The next example is the example of entanglement. And we start very simple. We take, let's say, a red particle and a white particle. Very classical colors. Then the next step is that we bring them together. And we make them interact a little bit. So we bring them very close together so they feel each other. And by virtue of this interaction, they become entangled. They take over each other's properties. So in terms of color, they become white-reddish. Now that's okay. The curious thing happens if we take them, we entangle them, and bring them apart. And while taking them apart, they remain entangled. They still, the one that's on the left for you, still has some properties of the other particle, which can be at a very large distance, as far as the size of the universe, in principle. So that's entanglement over a very long distance. Particles keep having each other's properties. So what can we do? How can we actually measure that? Well, the problem is that if we measure it, we have a classical, let's say, color measurement apparatus. And the color measurement apparatus is a classical thing, so it can only give classical answers. So it says, let's say, red or white. So if I say, well, particle on the left, what is actually your color? And I measure it. It says, for instance, red. But maybe you notice that the particle on the right, at the same moment, became white. And let's check it again. I measure the left particle, and the one on the right immediately becomes white. That's because color is a conserved quantity in the universe. So if something completely turns red, there's something else where it used to be entangled with is completely turning white. And this action over a large distance, and remember it can be the size of the universe, these particles can be apart, takes place instantaneous. Let me put it there. A measurement of the color on the left particle immediately changes also the color that's far away. And so if I do something here, and at the same time I change something there, without any signals traveling over to actually say, well, you just go there. There's nothing in between. Much faster than the speed of light. So this is a prediction from quantum theory. And one guy, Einstein, said, that must be wrong. Any theory that predicts spooky action on a distance, do something here, change something there, that's a prediction that tells that the theory is wrong. It doesn't say it's possible, it tells the theory is wrong. Luckily, we also have other heroes in physics. This is a theoretical physicist called Richard Feynman. And he said, let's not be bothered with all these philosophical, consequences of our theory. Let's calculate and see what happens. Now here at the Delft University of Technology, we educate engineers, actually guys like me. And our approach is that we feel challenged. And we say, okay, let's do it. So what do? We take these two particles, we bring them far apart, and we make it a bit more complicated. We bring in a third particle, the green one. The green one we bring to the left one, and we make these two interact. I'm going to give them some interaction, but view the graph carefully. You see that at the same moment, when these two interact and share some color, also the particle on the right, which was still entangled with the first one, also becomes green a little bit. Now next is that I ask for color. Hey, left particles, I do a color measurement. And they, for instance, turn white-reddish. At the same time, the one on the right becomes green. So look what I've done effectively. Let's start again. I bring in the green particle, they entangle. They're also entangled with the one on the right. I click once more, and the one on the right is now green. I have teleported the green particle from the left universe to the right universe over a long distance, instantaneously. So this teleportation is what we call, let's say, absurd or strange or very odd. But we can do it, and we actually do it. And actually, we do this in the lab, and we've actually done it so many times that we actually made a student-proof setup. Now, I can tell you, if a setup is student-proof, then it's a very robust setup. And all right, so what do we make? We want to make some stuff that we can actually use and do something with. First of all, a very simple example of a light bulb. It's a plain wire. If we send a current through the wire, or if you excite it by light, it also luminesces a little bit of its light. But in this case, the wire is very small. It's only nanometers in diameter, maybe a micrometer long. Now, at the red arrow that you see, we excite the system with some laser light, and we actually look what comes out of the wire. And if we do that, you actually see a little bit of there was a little bit of light coming out of it, the thing, right? That bright spot. Now, what is special about this bright spot, that if you analyze it with a good detector, it actually comes out as a stream of individual light particles, one by one. It's no longer a stream of light, it's really granular. One comes out, the next come out, etc. And these are our photons that we use in these color experiments to teleport. Let me give you another example. Different type of, if you're more the hearing person, then let me take a string. And with all our strings, guitar or violin or whatever, if you put a little tension on the string, the tone of the music goes up in frequency. The tone goes up. So we've taken a very thin wire, a nanotube, only 1 nanometer in diameter. We suspend it over a trench. We clamp it very tightly at 2 contacts. And we excite the nanotube with an electric pulse. It starts to vibrate, and we hear the tone. Now what is special about this particular vibration is that it's very small, so it's also very sensitive. So if we add one electron, one quantization of electrical charge to this nanotube, there's a little bit of extra tension into the nanotube that changes the tone a little bit. Let me hear you the sound of electrons. The composition could be a bit more interesting, but the change in tone, if you go from one level to the next level, that change is induced by one particular individual electron. You hear, let me let it hear again, what you hear are individual quantum electrons. That's coming to our waves, and they become audible. Now let me give you the most recent example that comes straight from the lab of my colleague Leonardo Di Carlo. And actually, we need to do something for this, because we have the Di Carlo lab actually made a box. You see the box already on the picture on the upper right, with a few coaxial connectors to it. And if I get my gloves on, you will actually let me touch the box. All right. And the box is big. I can hold it in my hands. And what we do in our group is to make small electronic elements. Elements that are so small that they can process information in a completely different way. Instead of having bits of 0 and 1s, we want to make superpositions of bits. A superposition of being 0 and 1 at the very same time. But we want to make them on an electronic circuit. And what Leo Di Carlo has done is make 3 qubits. I'm going to zoom in a little bit in a few seconds, but you already see the box with 3 qubits in it. And these 3 qubits, they can be put in a superposition or be entangled together in any arbitrary way that we wish. Now, let me see if the camera can actually show you the qubits. Must be more zoom. So this is my finger, and so this is the size of the system. And you can, I hope you can see that there are 3 black spots on this quartz plate. And these 3 black spots are about 1 centimeter away from each other. And these are our qubits. The qubits which are in a quantum superposition, and we can entangle different qubits together. So we're now on a chip of centimeter size. And so the distance between the different qubits is about 1 centimeter, and we can perform all this quantum absurdness on this chip at a visible length scale. All right, so you've seen it. Now, of course, it only works if the details are fabricated very, precisely, and the details are nanometer scale. And so it's not just that every centimeter object starts to behave quantum mechanical. No, you really have to engineer it very precise up down to the nanometer scale. That's a picture that you see right here. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. What are we trying to do here? Well, we actually want to make quantum mechanical systems and use the richness of quantum systems, like the extra possibilities of being in superpositions and having very fast teleportation over long distances, also in technology. And we make applications that are much more efficient than we have today. And particularly, because we're in the quantum information business, we want to extend the quantum, the level of quantum from the atom to a transistor. That is already the case. That's working very well. But we want to bring it even up to a higher level of complexity, that a complete electronic circuit behaves quantum mechanical. And it would win so much in efficiency, you would not believe it. And that would also make our gadgets a lot faster. Now, only a few years ago, people also in our field were saying that that's not going to happen. That's inherently impossible with quantum mechanics to bring them up to a larger scale of size and complexity. But with the progress of the last few years, I can really say here, actually I'm saying it for the first time in public, this clear, that it will come. Yes, we will be able to make quantum circuits, and a quantum computer will only take maybe a decade later or so. All right, let me conclude here with a take-home message. I started with some equations, including one for quantum mechanics, but there's one message that up to a couple of minutes ago, quantum was only restricted to the small objects, but from now on, it has arrived to the human scale. And we can see it, we can hear it, and we can touch it. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Hi, it's Mr. Anderson, and this is AP Physics Essentials, video 123. It's on electromagnetic radiation. Newton had shown that if you shine white light into a prism, it breaks it apart into its different colors. And another scientist wanted to know, is there any relationship between different colors of light and the temperature? So William Herschel took a thermometer and put it in the purple light, and then the blue light, and the green, and in the yellow, and in the red, and he wanted to figure out where were the different temperatures dependent upon color. But he wanted to have a control in this experiment, so he put another thermometer right off on this side just to judge the room temperature. And what he found, surprisingly, is that that was the hottest temperature of all. So he really discovered was infrared rays. And so those are rays that we can't see but generate a lot of heat. And so electromagnetic radiation, we only see a small sliver of that called visible light. But there's a whole bunch of other electromagnetic radiation out there in the universe. And we can put it on a spectrum and measure it from the really low, small wavelength to really long wavelengths, up to kilometers in wavelength. And then on the other direction, we're going to have increasing frequency. So as we increase frequency, we're going to decrease that wavelength. As we increase frequency in electromagnetic radiation, we're also increasing the amount of energy that those waves have. And so if we start with really high energy, we would have gamma rays, then X-rays, then infrared, and then visible light. So you can see that we're just seeing a small sliver of electromagnetic radiation. We then move into ultraviolet, finally into microwaves and radio waves. And so inside this room right now, I have visible light, but there are also radio waves here. That's how you could pick up a radio signal or a TV signal. But I also probably have microwaves in here as well. Hopefully I don't have too many gamma rays in here right now. But if we put them along a spectrum, they're going to decrease in wavelength as we move towards those gamma rays. To give you a sense of scale, radio waves are going to have wavelengths around the size of a building, but gamma rays down around the size of a nuclei. And there's this inverse relationship. So as we increase wavelength, we're going to decrease the amount of frequency. And so as we increase frequency, we have higher amounts of energy. So which one would you rather be exposed to? These ones with long wavelength, really, really low frequency, low energy. The ones on the right side are going to be able to damage cells, ionize cells, cause damage to the cells itself. And so did you learn to just make qualitative comparisons based on wavelength and frequency of electromagnetic radiation? I hope so, and I hope that was helpful.